Scott Finn, Men's Hard Reset. Here is a statistic that will scare you to death. 83% of divorced men experience significant long-term decline in wealth after divorce. Not talking a temporary drop. The median net worth of a divorced man at 50, $98,700. Compare that to a married man, same age, 220,000 plus. It's not the divorce. It's what happens after. It's not the legal settlement that does it. It's three specific patterns. Most divorced men don't even know they're running. I'm Scott Finn. This is Men's Hard Reset. And today we're going to name those patterns, expose them, and give you the exact framework to stop them. Because your financial life does not have to end at divorce. But you have to know exactly what you're fighting. All right, let's talk about a character. I'll tell you about him. We'll call him David. David went through divorce. He went through like a professional, hired a good attorney. He negotiated hard. He kept the house, which he thought was a big win. Set up the child support, the custody schedule, shook hands, signed the papers, walked out of the courthouse. He's like, I'm okay. I made it through the worst of it. 2 years later, David is $60,000 in debt. Not because of the settlement, not because of back child support, not even the legal fees. It's because three things David was doing that felt completely rational at the moment. He was spending money to feel like a man again. He was spending money to manage his guilt, and he had completely stopped building wealth. Now, David isn't a cautionary tale. David is the majority. And if you recognize any part of what I'm about to describe, this is not a character flaw. That's a psychological response to trauma that no one is going to warn you about. Here's what the financial advisors focus on: your asset division, retirement accounts, the house, child support. And yes, all of that matters. But here's what they miss. A man who loses 40% of his assets in a settlement, but then changes his psychology after divorce, will out-earn and out-save a man who kept everything. If that man never deals with what's driving his spending. Because the legal event is one-time hit. One time. The psychological damage, those are ongoing. Studies show divorced men are significantly more likely to make an impulsive purchase in the first 18 months post-divorce, reduce retirement contributions, or even stop them entirely. Overspend in categories tied to identity and their status. Avoid investing due to paralysis or fear. None of that is in the divorce decree. And it's all self-inflicted. It comes down to three traps. Trap number one, we'll call it the rescue spend. Here's how it works. You just lost your identity, your home, that version of yourself, and you had a clear role. And your nervous system, not your logical brain, your nervous system is wanting to look for something to replace those signals. Something that says, I'm capable, I'm a man, I still have worth, and it will find it in purchases. A new boat, a new apartment, better than you can afford, because you need to prove you've landed on your feet. The truck you always wanted, but couldn't really justify when you were married. A new wardrobe, that watch, weekend trip with the guys. Now, none of these things are inherently bad, but the problem is, why? When spending becomes a mechanism for recovering yourself, you always spend more than you can afford, because you're not buying things, you're buying feelings. And let me tell you, feelings are bottomless. The rest you spend doesn't feel like a financial decision. It feels like a fight for survival. The antidote: before you purchase anything over $200, ask one question. Am I buying this because I want it, or because I need it to feel like myself again? This question alone will save you thousands. The second piece: build identity through action, not acquisition. The gym, skills, business, a craft. Those rebuild a man without emptying your bank. Trap number 2, the guilt spend. And this one is quieter, and it does way more damage. If you have kids, listen carefully. When divorce happens, most men feel, even if they know logically they shouldn't, a deep guilt about what their kids are going through. And that guilt needs to be placed somewhere. And where does it usually wind up? One guess: right in your wallet. The guilt spend looks like this. Every weekend becomes Disneyland. You can't say no, because every no feels more like you're taking something from them. And here's the trap inside of that trap: you're not spending it on your kids, you're spending it on your guilt. Your kids don't need Disney every month. They need a stable, present father. And those are not the same thing. And one of them costs you nothing. This research is clear. Children of divorce do not do better when their dad spends more money on them. They do better when dad shows up consistently, is emotionally there for them, and a model of financial stability. The man who takes the kids to the park every Saturday and has a funded emergency account is better than a father who takes them to Universal Studios twice and then can't make rent. The antidote: set a monthly experiences budget with the kids and stick to it. Replace spending based on activities with presence-based ones. The game in the backyard, the Saturday morning ritual, those memories will last anything that you could buy them. And talk to your kids age appropriately about money. Teaching them financial discipline is the greatest inheritance you can give them. Hands down. No one wants to teach financial stability. You do this, they will remember. Trap number 3, and this one is a long-term danger: the avoidance trap. After divorce, many men do something that looks responsible on the surface. They stop making financial decisions. They don't touch the 401k because the market feels too risky. They don't set up a new budget because looking at those numbers are just too painful. They don't meet a financial advisor because they really just don't need to see how bad it actually is. And weeks, as we all know, become months, become years. Meanwhile, compounding interest is running in the wrong direction. Retirement contributions are paused. The market runs without them. Debt accrues. Interest. Emergency funds sent empty. The avoidance, it feels like caution, but it actually is the most expensive financial decision you can make. The man who stops investing at 40 for 3 years and restarts at 43 loses an estimated 180 to 250,000 in compounded growth by the time he hits 65. Not from bad decisions, from no decision. The avoidance freeze is a fear of wearing a mask of patience. The antidote is pretty easy. Take one financial action a week. One. Not a plan, not a strategy session, an action. Open an account, a TD Ameritrade account, make the call, transfer the amount. Progress over perfection. $50 a month is infinitely better than zero because it breaks that freeze. And the identity of the man who is building starts to return. It sounds so difficult, but just think of it as an extra car payment of some kind every month, and you set it up and be responsible to yourself for making it. Okay, now we've talked about the three traps: the rescue spend, the guilt spend, and the avoidance freeze. Here is the divorce financial reset. 5 steps in order. Step 1, the financial autopsy. Pull every statement, every account, every subscription, look at it, and what you've spent on that in the last 90 days. Put it in a category, ruthlessly. Need, want, rescue, guilt, fear. You need to see the pattern before you can break it. Step 2, identify a budget. Not a budget based on what you used to spend, a budget based on who you are becoming. What does the rebuilt version of yourself need? Build the numbers around that version, not your old life. Step 3, the non-negotiable 5. 5 financial moves you execute every month without exception. Emergency fund contribution until you hit 3 months in expenses. Retirement contribution, even if it's small. Debt reduction payments above minimum. 1 asset building action, investment, skill, side hustle. 1 financial education input, book, podcaster, advisor meeting. These are not optional. These are the floor. Step 4, the guilt audit. Every month, review your kid-related spending. Ask, is this presence or guilt? Set that budget and hold to it. Fill that gap with your time. Step 5, 90-day reset review. Every 90 days, review your progress, not to judge yourself, but to recalibrate it. Where did you rescue spend? When did you freeze? Adjust and move forward. This framework will not make you rich overnight, but it will stop the bleeding. And bleeding out is how men end up broke at 50. This is not where you want to be. I see people all the time that are in their 50s and are broke because they've been through a bad marriage and been through this identical thing. And once they're able to see it, and follow these steps, it's like a magic bullet for them. But the men who end up broke at 50 aren't the men who lost the most in the settlement. They're not. They're the men who never identified what was driving their spending after the divorce. The rescue spend, the guilt spend, the avoidance freeze. You can name them now. And once you name something, you can beat it. The next chapter of your financial life doesn't start when things feel stable. It starts with one decision today. You have to make that decision. I'm Scott Finn, and this is Hard Reset. Hey, look, if this hits you somewhere, drop a comment, let us know. Tell me which trap that you're in. That is the first step, recognizing it. And if you want the full Divorce Financial Reset workbook, it'll be in the description. Download it, fill it out, build something for yourself. Subscribe if you're serious about the rebuild. It helps us share this information with more people. And if you know somebody that needs to see this, please share it with them. See you in the next one.